Hi guys, welcome to another video. Because it's the third in the day, it's the third day in a row maybe that I've managed to film. Anyway, I made really good progress with my Thorins Company. They are now all finished, as you can see, all lined up in all their glory. All 15 of them, 13 dwarves, a hobbit, and a wizard. Yeah, I'm really happy with how they've come out. I think they look great. I'm really pleased with all like the different, the fact that I managed to sort of change the colours a little bit, try and keep some of the coloration from the book descriptions, but there's not for most of them, most of the characters, not loads of description, in the books. Anyway, I mean, with the exception of sort of like Thorins having like, was it yellow stockings or something, and good old Dwalin here having a blue beard. But yeah, most of them it's just sort of like, I mean, it explains what hood they've got. I vaguely remember it somewhere mentioning that Dory was the strongest, and that's old Dory there. This purple coat because he has a purple hood in the books. And his flail and his little sword there. Yeah, so we've got Ori there, Nori there, who, as I learned from my battle against my mate with them, it's actually very effective in combat. So there's Dory, and we've got Killy, Philly, Thorin himself, Bilbo, Balin, Gandalf, Dwalin, Bomber, Boffer, Biffer, and then Gloin and Oin. Again, I really like Oin. I think just because he's actually got a hood, and in the books he has a brown hood, and his coat's brown just because I don't know. It looks like the hood's attached to the coat, and I actually like the way he's sort of, he's mostly brown. I mean, he's got a little bit of red there, just sort of tie him into similar to Gloin's scheme. But also just because, yeah, I actually really like working with like sort of like minimalistic palettes, and I really love the brass, like the contrast of the brass to the brown works really well. I'm really happy with how that's come out. I'm really glad I made that decision rather than with the usual kind of iron. There's Gloin, he's got sort of like his third sort of layer is white because he has a white hood in the books, and I kind of want a little bit of that, but I didn't want to paint it more white. I don't know, I just didn't. Yeah, I must admit, I do like the kind of the reddy brown sort of leathery look. So yeah, just an excuse to use that, and also that kind of he's a little bit close to the most of the Gimlis I've painted in my collection as well. I do like how like sort of Gloin's got these axes, and obviously very similar style to Gimli's. I think somebody mentioned that they could actually be the same axes, but there's no reason why they're the same axes. It could just whichever Smith, perhaps as Gloin himself, is the one that made them. That could be his particular style. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a short video, just kind of like yay, I finished. I'm hoping in the future to get some battles in with these guys. Would be really really fun if I get a battle report in. So maybe that's something I could look forward to. But to be honest, from what I've seen of them, out playing against them, I think they are actually a very effective fighting force on their own. I mean, Bilbo is actually really nasty because he gets the ring, but he doesn't get the negative from like yeah, because basically his ring is like he's got a rule, but it stops him getting all the negatives from having the ring. So it's actually difficult to actually negate really in a game. Whereas say with Frodo, there's always that risk that your opponent could take over him and have control of him. That doesn't happen with Bilbo. Obviously, Sauron and the Ring Wraiths have still got they can still see him. There's still an advantage there. So if you're facing obviously an army like that, you'd have to be careful with Bilbo. But because with the ring when he's invisible, any model he's fighting, he actually halves their fight value, which as you can imagine is very effective, especially when you have good old Thorin in the same fight as him. So basically Bilbo's there like cutting down your guy's like fight value, and suddenly you've got like a 3-fight Amder versus Thorin, and just one shots him. And then obviously the extra attack from Bilbo, because Sting gives him a +1 to strength, so he becomes strength 3. So rather than being the usual 2 of a hobbit, he's suddenly 3, which is quite average, and you can actually do something with strength 3, I found. I mean, you can be effective with strength 2. I've done damage with strength 2 weapons, but I've noticed when you use a strength 2 bow versus strength 3 bow, the strength 3 bow tends to wound more. It's one of the things I found while using my Khazad-dûm army, is I like to run sort of rangers and dwarf warriors with those, because the rangers have got a bit more range on their bow, and they've got 3+ to hit, so that's quite good. There's a high chance you're hitting. You've got you've got better, greater range, but still you're only a strength 2 bow, so there is a chance that you won't do that much damage. Whereas that Strength 3 bow, yeah, okay, it's short range and it's 4 plus to hit, so it's a little bit less chance hitting. But that Strength 3, I've seen it do damage. I mean, I found them very effective on my Urukai accounts, having the Urukai bows. I was fighting Rohan, but I must admit, actually, I was playing Scout Legion, and I was just taking out like Rise Rohan with the Strength 3 bows. And I was like, wow, these are actually really effective. Yeah, so that was quite good fun. So sort of, I think I'll just sort of wrap it up now and just say anyway, excited that's that done. Keep a watch out for later on. Hopefully, I'll get some battles in with these guys. Get some, maybe do a video sort of talk about tactics and stuff. But I think the main one seems to be with these guys is making sure they don't get cut off and surrounded and trapped. That's sort of when they're most at risk. So you got to make sure you keep to those control zones. That 1 inch exclusion zone is really handy because what that potentially gives you is sort of like a 2 inch gap that a model cannot get through until they have charged something or they charge you. So obviously, something you do have to be careful of. But yeah, keeping them together in groups. It's not all of them are particularly great at fighting. But then you've got like Ori, he might not be a great fighter, but there is, he gives like his chronicler ability, so there's a chance that you can attack points of will and might, and then obviously you've got like Oin, who can heal people, so he can restore your wounds, which that makes you even more durable. So yeah, certainly Thorins Company seems to be a very effective army. Obviously, there is the option to take them as a champions of Erebor in the Erebor claim list, so you're then even tougher because they've all got like defense 7 and 8. So that's really really crazy. They obviously you can beat on them a bit and they'll survive. So yeah, I think Thorins Company is actually a really effective army, and you see right there in front of you that's a full 1,000 point army. So like pretty much the biggest tournament. There's very very few games of like Middle Earth that go above 1,000 points, and most of the time that's narrative games. If you're doing battle pelennor fields and stuff. And to be honest, I think just the way the rules are written, if you want to do bigger games, you're probably better off getting hold of the old War of the Ring book and stuff and doing the proper what you call them, like formations and stuff. But yeah, anyway, thanks for guys. I'm really happy with this. Yeah, catch you in the future. All right, goodbye.